I was like, I don't know what to do. I've misplayed the entire game. He has more top 8 finishes and challenges than I do. I have done,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't say anything.
Game two, I played against Grimsnarl against a very good player, Kieran Farah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Top Shelf Pokemon TCG podcast. My name is Juan and I'm joined by my amazing coworker and co-host Lucas Warred.
Hey guys, I'm Lucas. I'm a shop associate at Top Shelf. I'm also the Pokemon TCG judge, and I've been playing the TCG competitively for about 2.5 years.
Yeah, and I'm also in the same position as Lucas. I am a shop associate. I help run a lot more of the Bandai events, so things like Union Arena, One Piece, and now Gundam, which is a pretty cool game that's coming out soon. Um, I've been playing competitively for almost around a year now. It's kind of been just a year I've been playing competitively, but I think probably last 6 months is when I've tried to actually get better at the game. I want to say kind of starting with Toronto Regionals. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about looking forward into Worlds, seeing how some of the new cards from Black Bolt and White Flare might change the meta, and also kind of our overall thoughts in how it's going to look like, how the meta share might look like, especially with a new set. Gardavore has obviously been super dominant. Maybe things might change, maybe not. We'll discuss that further along. We're also then going to look at our own league challenge at Top Shelf and kind of talk about the meta share there and talk about a bit of some cool decks we saw. I'm going to talk a bit about a funny little round I had for round 4 of my challenge. And then Lucas and I are going to talk about our competitive season so far. I think Lucas has gone to significantly more events. I've only gone to the one challenge, so Lucas will definitely probably have a lot more stuff to share there. And then we're going to finally talk about the newly announced slash leaked Mega Absol and Mega Mawile and kind of give our opinions if these cards are going to be good or not within the meta. And yeah, so Lucas, let's get started. Worlds, kind of,
Yep.
what are you looking forward to with Worlds? And what is something that, like, do you think anything's going to be different from last year's Worlds, considering the fact that now we have a significantly stricter qualification compared to previous years? And do you think that it's going to be any better? It's going to make the quality of Worlds better?
So in terms of the quality, I think like in previous years as well, it was always still like the best players got to go to Worlds because it was still pretty challenging to get to the 600 points. So I don't think the like quality of player is going to be much different. Like the really good players are still going to be going, and then they'll be hopefully doing pretty well there as well. Um, but yeah, in terms of what I'm excited for, hopefully Miraidon has a little comeback outside of within Joltik box. I really like that deck. I like gambling off the electric generators. It's always a good time. So hopefully that comes back with electric and Zekrom EX. So that'll be pretty good. Um,
Yeah, actually, let's kind of
and yeah.
talk about,
Oh,
yeah, let's talk about maybe more about the Zekrom EX cards and the Electric EX and the Electric cards. Like, how do you think these are going to actually be able
yeah.
to make Miraidon better? I think, in my opinion, I know Zekrom EX is going to give Miraidon a good closer that it hasn't had in a bit since Raichu kind of rotated out. I think, especially with Joltik
Yeah.
Box, I think it's kind of not in the worst way, but I think very truthfully, it's kind of a coping type of deck with Miraidon. I think people just really want to play Miraidon, and Joltik Box is kind of that cope right now, just because Miraidon isn't a good attacker by itself. It's super hard to power up Iron Hands right now without the Joltik Box to make it very consistent for turn 2. And yeah, I think Zekrom EX. And tell me more about the Electric, because actually I'm not too familiar with the card.
So electric is it's a reprint. It's been reprinted as like the Dynamotor ability that it has been in the game a couple times. So the original one I believe is from the like the black and white era. And its ability says once during your turn, you may attach a lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So of course that works very well with all of the attackers in Miraidon. Um, it'll make it potentially a bit more consistent throughout the game. You have the consistent energy acceleration instead of just the one jolting charge that you use at the beginning of the game for jolting box. Maybe you use two, but so that'll be awesome to bring that back. The Flaffy was the more recent version, the more recent card that had Dynamotor, and that was like when I was playing, like I was playing during the Flaffy, and I played a lot of Miraidon then as well, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then just like with the build of Miraidon that could come from this, I think it could potentially be a bit faster because you could actually attack turn one instead of having to use Joltik turn one. So that could be a pretty big benefit to the new deck. But yeah.
Yeah, I think with Latias EX also kind of being specifically
Yeah.
back
Oh yeah.
in the Worlds format, kind of like comparing it back to last year, I definitely think, especially with now the format kind of switching between going second is the best, like regardless of the matchup, going second is just the best. And I think last Worlds format, I remember I was just getting into the game, and that was a concept that I remember a lot of streamers like Azul GG's or other prominent figures would talk about, where it's like, oh, which deck is it best to go first or second? Which deck do you want to go first against? Do you want to go second against? And I think it's completely shifted to every single time you ask heads or tails, you're just asking, do I get to go second? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I
There's
think,
like maybe one or two decks that like to go first, but like everything else is second, which is crazy.
yeah, and like, especially with Joltik Box, like that Joltik Box not being able to go second makes that deck so incredibly slow. And if you're able to item
Yeah.
lock them and they can't have anything, especially if they open up with an Iron Hands and they can't get Latias, that deck just bricks because you just essentially bedo them until you can set up your own board state, and from
Right.
there it's really easy to get rid of like these Pokemon are super bulky. I also hope Miraidon gets back because I think Jesse Parker deserves a bit of. I don't know if he has revenge against anyone. I mean, when your opponent is DQ'd in such a weird way, Fernando Cifuentes, I think probably being one of the luckiest world winners, and that's not me trying to speak poorly. Like he did have to make it
Still a
all the
very good
way.
player, of course.
Yeah, he's still one of the top Latin American players, if not the top
Yeah.
Latin American player. Um, but I mean, yeah, when you have your opponent that swiftly beat you 2-0, get DQ'd for I think it was unsportsmanlike conduct in a celebration. I think Pokemon never gave us the reason, which is still kind of weird. And I remember during the broadcast, like both casters just trying to like they just display the graphic, and all of a sudden it was Fernando Cifuentes' name. And I remember I'm assuming they couldn't talk about it, but I remember the chat on Twitch being like, "Where's Ian Robb? What happened to Ian Robb?"
Right.
Um, and then he tweets out that he got DQ'd, and then obviously the matchup for Miraidon Iron Thorns is horrible. So Cifuentes, and despite with
Right.
how well Jesse Parker played, it's just such an uphill battle to have to play against Iron Thorns. And I think also mentally that takes you out so egregiously,
Right.
having to like be like, okay, I'm playing Ian Robb, I'm gonna play Reggie Drago, I know I'm gonna play against, and then all of a sudden you're sitting,
Matchup.
yeah, and now you're playing against
Yeah.
Cifuentes, and you're like, okay, this is a completely different deck. It's Iron
Hmm.
Thorns, and that Iron Thorns was such a build that was not toxic, I want to say, but so damaging to the setup of Miraidon. So I think I would love to see Jesse Parker use Miraidon again. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And
I'd be
also,
surprised if he didn't.
yeah, I
If
think
he didn't bring it to Worlds.
yeah, I think with
Yeah.
this like resurgence, it would be really cool to see him. And also something that's very
Oh, for
cool.
sure.
You've definitely played him a lot more than I have. I think I've maybe played him once, but someone who really comes out to our locals all the time, Riley McKay, has qualified to Worlds after an incredible NAIC run. Like I remember you when the Discord, I was watching it. Like I put on one of the TVs at the shop doing my work, covering the front, and every once in a while I'll check in. And I remember you were like, you texted the Discord, and you're like, everyone, Riley McKay's top 8 right now. And then I think something that's so shocking and like been so cool to see is all these YouTube videos talking about the pass. And it's like I this guy comes to our shop every once in a while. So like, and Lucas, you've definitely
I
played
know him.
him.
That's cool.
Yeah, you've played
Yeah.
him a lot more. So like, we want to speak. You want to go ahead and speak on that for a bit?
Um, I just think it's really cool that like a local has been talked about so much in the community recently. He's always been like an amazing player. Like he's always had great finishes at regionals. Nothing like nothing crazy like the second at an international, but he's always been one of the top players in our area, and just to finally see him get the recognition that I think he deserves as a player is really great to see. But yeah, I've played him a few times. He's beat me most of those times. I've gotten lucky maybe one or two times, but yeah, it's just he puts a lot of work into the game, and it's great to see.
Another
Mhm.
card that I want to really talk about is Jellicent EX. I think
Gosh, yeah.
having a tool that gives Gardavore. Actually, before we delve into that, Lucas, if you want to quickly give me a little bit of a rundown of Jellicent EX and how broken it's going to be.
All right. So, um, before I talk about it, all I've been hearing from like I've talked to a few top players about what their thoughts are for Worlds, and it's just all Gardevoir just because of Jellicent. Jellicent makes Gardevoir so much better, and that's because of its ability, Oceanic Curse. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any item cards or tool cards from their hand. So essentially, it's Badoo, you're item locking your opponent, but you can also attack for 160 damage every turn, and they also can't play tools. So it's just a great attacker for Gardevoir. It limits your opponent to doing like so little on their turn unless they maybe have a boss's orders to boss around the Jellicent, so then they can play their items. But then they don't get a supporter for the turn. That's what they're doing. So it's just it's I don't I'm sure there's ways to play around it. I haven't, the card's not even out yet. I haven't really tested against it, but it just seems very strong. And um, maybe I'll have to switch to back to Gardevoir to to compete with some people.
Yeah, the deck. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things where you kind of want to get upset at Pokemon because you're like,
Yeah.
this. How are you going to give Gardevoir another card? But I think I kind of think about it, and I think it's like Pokemon's tried to kill Gardevoir. Maybe I mean like rotation. Everyone thought the deck was going to be useless,
Yeah.
and then Henry Chow decided to win three. Um, decided to win three back to back, not back to back, but three regionals with Gardevoir. And then again, Riley McKay and Isaiah Bradner being the finalists with a Gardevoir mirror match, and two very different builds. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so how many times have we had to say that this is the rotation or Gardevoir's finally dead for it only to come back stronger? And I think this is the first time heading into a new format where there is no longer that cope or that belief of Gardevoir being dead. And this is the first time we're going into
Yeah.
it. We're like, Gardevoir's only going to get better.
Mhm.
And then,
Only gonna die when it rotates.
yeah,
That's what's gonna happen.
yeah, that's the only reason because I think Mega Gardevoir EX, people have definitely been aware of the card. A three prizer that
Right.
doesn't really hit for too much and is kind of I would
Yeah.
say.
It's
I think Gardevoir, you're kind of right. Gardevoir's only going to die when it rotates. And kind of on top of that, where do you think this format is kind of going to be headed then with we see such a more oppressive Gardevoir list? A Gardevoir list that could shut down a lot of TM Evo plays, which a lot of other decks such as Grimmsnarl have really relied on to cope through it. Obviously, having the super effectiveness is very helpful. And especially when now with Air Balloon being back in the format, I think a lot of decks like Miraidon would kind of rely on it to, if you get your turn one and you open up Iron Hands, you attach Air Balloon, a bit easier to move it around, or even other basics. Obviously, we have Latios, that would help a lot. But do you think that, I think it's very clear God of War is going to be public enemy number one, but do you think there's going to be anything that can really stand up to it?
It's a good question. I mean, I hope that like I play Grimmsnarl, so I really like that deck. I hope that Grimmsnarl can find a way to be at least like 50-50 or maybe like slightly favored into Gardevoir, because the Jellicent is also weak to dark. So I think if you can get a Grimmsnarl set up and attacking, you may be okay. Or like currently like playing through the Morgrims in Grimmsnarl is a way to have a better chance against Gardevoir. So maybe like doing that, like a combination of both of those. I think if Miraidon can get pretty consistent with attacking with Iron Hands, that may be pretty difficult for Gardevoir just because all the Monkey Dories are great Iron Hands targets that they're using. So if Miraidon gets consistent with attacking with Iron Hands, plays a lot of bosses orders, I think that that might have a chance. Uh, but only time will tell. I haven't tested it, so yeah, we'll those two decks I'm thinking will be the main two opponents for Gardevoir.
But let's transition more to our local meta. So this is a bit of a graph I made for our local July League Challenge. A completely full house for our store. We're a bit smaller, so our capacity is around 24 players. 22 masters showed up, and our top 8 is filled with a lot of local names that come out, and kind of you judge events, so you get to look around, watch a lot of games, and kind of
Right.
look at a lot of decks. Was there any deck in particular kind of stood out to you throughout the tournament?
Most of them were pretty normal, I would say. Well, there's two actually that stood out to me. The Crustal Iron Thorns deck. I believe Noah was playing that. It's a pretty cool deck. Um, I like just wall decks like that are very annoying to play against.
Yeah,
That's for sure. They really make you think. So that's really cool that he brought that and he did pretty well as well. I think he went 4-1.
yeah, he got
Um,
top 8. He got in fifth in
top,
overall standings.
yeah. So the bubble was pretty harsh at the cup because nobody went undefeated. I think there was like four, maybe five 4-1s, which was crazy.
Yeah,
Um, but there's that deck, and also the Typhlosion that was there was Typhlosion with Dracloak as the draw engine. I've never played that deck myself, but I played a lot of Typhlosion during pre-release for Destined Rivals. It's a lot of fun, and just having the draw engine of Dracloak is very cool. Um, and like I also played a lot of Dragapults, and I know how strong Dracloak is. So just really cool to see those two decks specifically at our challenge. That was awesome.
yeah, I know, and I hopefully maybe with the new format again, we're gonna have Brave Bengal. That's going to definitely maybe give that edge back
Right.
towards
Yes.
Typhlosion, 30 extra damage. So we're not gonna be hitting for 310, I think, which is
Yeah.
pretty
It's a big deal.
huge. Pretty
Yeah.
huge. Like a lot of the basic EXs are at risk. A lot of one prizers
Mhm.
are at risk. So definitely, it's
Gardevoir.
Gardevoir is yeah. It's a lot of
Yeah.
things are going to be having to look behind their back. So maybe we'll also see that in Worlds, maybe a deck. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people might be a little too scared to bring it because it's just such a and there's been no proven success from it before. And I think a lot of these
Right.
top
Right.
players are not going to want to transition to a deck, especially a single prizer deck. We did see one NAIC that did really, really well. I think it got day two. I don't remember exactly where he placed. I remember it was on one of the stream matches. I know they did well, but yeah, definitely looking forward. I don't think people are going to be carrying it. Something that stood out to me is Dragapult's Charizard as the highest pick at our challenge. And I've realized that this has been, at least for our local meta, like I know one of our coworkers, Enzo, he's been playing the deck for a couple weeks now. Talk to me about this deck because I think that it's very much widely regarded as the worst way to play Dragapult, but I think that definitely it's been getting that traction, and I want to kind of hear your thoughts about that.
Like recently, or like maybe not recently, but I sort of disagree with the like it being the worst way to play Dragapult. Like in the current meta, I think it is the best way to play Dragapult. Just because um the Charizard, like Candy Charizard, you set up a Charizard and a Dragapult in one turn if you can attach an energy to the Dragapult. The Charizard is just it's such a good attacker, especially in the late game. And then the Dragapult, we all know how good Dragapult's attack is. And it also has the support of Dracloak. And ever since I think like when I start to see it get popular was Rowan Stavina. He won the Masters Cup before NAIC. And ever since then, I've been seeing it everywhere. And it's just some of the players that are playing it are they know exactly what they're doing. One of our locals, John, he's been playing it for a long time, and he consistently places very well at our locals. So that really shows me like it's always been pretty good. It's just I don't think it's been respected as much, or maybe not. Maybe respected isn't the right word, but like people aren't playing it as much. Um, but yeah, I've played against it a few times with Grimmsnarl. Once you take 4 prize cards, the matchup gets really scary
Yeah.
because then their Charizards can just one-shot you, and it's not it's that easy to set up another Grimmsnarl late game. So that's pretty scary. So really have to worry about the Charmanders are your main focus. Um, but yeah, very strong deck. I don't think it did super well at the challenge. I think I'm seeing like the best placing is seventh,
7th and
but
8th, yeah.
I think that's seventh and eighth. Yeah, I think that's just because it's been so popular lately. People know what they're doing against it. Um, and decks like Crustle and Iron Thorns really feed off of decks like that that are only really attacking with the X's.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
played 2 day of challenge. My first round was against Enzo. Um, it's funny because we've played each other, I think, every single challenge, and any sort of event that we've gone to, we've played against each other. Um, both times he was playing Dragapult's Charizard, I won off a very lucky top deck, which included getting Iono to 1 card and then drawing the exact card I needed. First time I was playing Garchomp, Iono to 1 Fighting Energy, and they got Crispin, and then was able to attach both of them. You were there watching that game, I remember.
Of
And then
course. Yep. I
second
remember.
time, I got Iono to 1 and Boss's Orders to win the game, so I could just bring up, I think, a Pheasantipity, like Pheasantipity, Monkey Damage, like Monkey in the knockout for
Right.
my last
Yeah.
prize
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
So yeah, that deck is actually horrifying to play against. I then got steamrolled in my last round to Javier. Lovely guy, very lovely guy. I'm a little salty for the fact that I didn't know I could have made top 8 if I won the game. Um, but I think yeah, no, it was a fun deck. And then that kind of brings me to my next topic of kind of my match report of that challenge, and then we'll move on to your season reports. Because I know you went to the Manta Cup, I believe, and a couple other cups.
Game time.
Yeah, Game Time Cup, perfect. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for my reports, went 2-1-2. Overall, I think I was playing Marnie's Grimmsnarl, just didn't know the deck. I think I definitely heavily
Right.
underestimated how hard this deck, not hard, but like, how, no, it is a hard deck. I think it's a really top level deck. And
You need to know your matchups is what it is. Like you need to know what to do against certain decks, which is a lot.
yeah, and I didn't know what to do. I think I got really lucky
Mhm.
with a mirror match against Norel. She just bricked, and I misplayed horribly. I think 4 turns in a row, I was like, why on earth would I do that? Um,
Right.
then I played against Enzo. Again, the boss's orders for top deck. Like that's just kind of a bit cheese on his part. Round 3, I lost to Raging Bolts, and I think Grimmsnarl is one of those decks that feels so helpless against Raging Bolt. I actually lost to Dan Lizardo, who got his top 4. Yeah, Raging Bolt's a tough matchup, and it sucks to play against as Grimmsnarl.
It's tough for sure. Yeah.
And then round 4, I think is the one I want to spend a bit of time talking about. Actually, I played against Jacob Zhang, who was wearing the Goldango Dragobolt, which I didn't realize was Goldango Dragobolt until I compiled the metadata because I only saw Goldango. Um, Playing against a player who is their first time playing at a challenge, I think is one of those interesting things.
First time playing in person, not even as just his first challenge, like in first time playing in person.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
he got fourth, right?
No, he got
I forget.
he
I
got
can't.
6th.
Sixth. Okay. Still very
He
impressive.
has more top 8 finishes and challenges than I do. I have Zon,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can't say anything. Definitely, I think it's always interesting playing against new players. I think that match was the most scuffed game of Pokemon I've ever played. Um,
It's
you
fun to
got
watch.
Yeah, it's funny. I think everyone was at our table, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I've misplayed the entire game, and he got a double prize penalty because he looked at 2 of his prize cards when he knocked out a Monkey Dory, which was very like unintentional. And
Right. Oh, yeah, of
yeah, like
course.
I remember he did it, and I think at that point a lot of people were watching, and we all just like collectively put our hands like our hands to our head, and we're like, oh no, I
Yeah.
as much as I want to be really forgiving because it's the first time, like I think it's important to kind of be like, yeah, that's a double prize penalty. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then he almost did it again, and I had to stop him from doing it again so he didn't just lose the
Yeah.
game.
Mm,
Because I think he was just so used to knocking out EXs. I think at one point he just thought that was
right. Right.
every turn you just get two prize cards, which in this metagame is super fair. Um, so yeah, that was a really fun game. I think I also played horribly. This was my first tie I think I've actually had at a challenge. Definitely could have done better because I remember I had Night Stretcher and I had to just get Grimmsnarl, and then I just think I was not even an excuse. I just like misplayed. I went to get a Badoo to stall, but definitely took on Grimmsnarl. Um, but yeah, that was probably one of the most fun games of Pokemon I ever played. And then last round, I lost against Javier. Honestly, I also felt like I broke that game, but the matchups for Grimmsnarl, I think, can be you have to know them, and I just didn't know them. And this was the 60 that I played. Very similar to I think what you were playing. Um, Kind of like a 3-2-2 line of Grimmsnarl,
Yeah.
three Mucky
It
Dories.
looks pretty similar.
I think
Yeah.
like very similar. I think very slight changes. And for anyone wondering, that is a proxy, but I didn't use a proxy at a challenge. I followed the rules. Lucas gave me a copy fizz. I don't know if the Mari's deck comes with only two, and I've misplaced one. Um, I have no
I think it
idea.
only comes as two. I
Okay,
think it
I,
comes as
I
two.
feel significantly
Yeah.
better because I was like, did I lose a card?
Yeah.
And especially that it's so hard to find them for whatever reason because people aren't opening
Mm,
Destin Rivals, but that's besides the point.
right.
Um, yeah, I think definitely playing in person gets to me a lot more, and that's something I want to improve on throughout the season because I think when I play in person, I get super locked in certain plays just because I see them instead of taking my time a bit. And also, I have the opposite problem where sometimes I just can't see everything and I play too slowly. You did have to give me a bit of a warning round one, which was totally warranted. So definitely have to get better at playing quickly, but also understanding what lines to take. So now,
I have the same issue. Like I sometimes I play pretty slow, and like sometimes my opponent's like, just pick it up a little bit. Like we're gonna run out of time. So like that's normal. Yeah, don't like that's always gonna happen.
yeah, definitely it's like one of those
For sure.
things. It's like I don't want to like I don't want to be like I'm not trying to play fast, but I just there's so many things going on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in Grimsnarl where there's that so much going on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the amount of time I missed my frost last take was like
Right.
incredible,
It's
and
you just have to get used to it.
I
That's
think
all
it's
it
because like
is.
when you practice along the ladder, it just happens, so you don't think about it, and then in person you're like, and I don't think this is malicious, but your opponents aren't going to tell you to put damage on their Pokemon, and I think that's just like very normal. Like I also
Right.
like I think yeah, there's some sportsmanship too, but also as the player has a Pokemon who's doing the ability, it's the onus is up on you to make sure you're getting that together.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's move on to then kind of want to hear about your term report. I have your 60 pulled up. I think this is the one from your cup. Um, you
Yes.
want to kind of run me down through your cup and how you felt?
Um, so I'll just go through the rounds. I have them. I'm looking down just because I have all the rounds on my phone. But so round one, I played against uh Raging Bolt with no owls. Um, I won that game. So I got pretty lucky just because um I think they prized their Chen Pao, like which is a very important thing to get in the Grimstar matchup. So I was just able to spread damage the whole game. I set up two Frost Lasses, didn't really use Grimmsnarl, and then just ticked away at two Ogre Pawns and a Latias, and that was pretty. Or actually, no, it was an Ogre Pawn, a Latias, and a Squawk ability. So even easier to do. So that was pretty nice. Game one went pretty smoothly. Game two, I played against Grimmsnarl Mirror against a very good player, Kieran Farah. I did not play well. I was pretty intimidated by it was my first time playing against him. I know how good he is. I made some misplays, and that was kind of how the game went. Um, Game three, played against Crystal Thorns. I did win. I got pretty lucky. I didn't have so they had an Iron Thorns in their active spot, and I luckily just hit the nuts off the draw. I candy Grimsnarled, but because Iron Thorn's there, you can't use the ability. But I had Rescue Board on active. I had an Energy Switch in hand, so Energy Switch attached to Grimmsnarl, and then the Frost less damage was enough just to knock out the Iron Thorns before he got a chance to set up Crustals. So that felt pretty good that I didn't have to deal with the Crustals. Then round 4 and 5, more Grimmsnarls. I won both of those games, and then I just ID'd round 6. And then top 8 had a pretty strong opponent. I played against Rowan. In my mind, the only reason I beat him was because I got insanely lucky off draw. Every time I owned, I got exactly what I needed every time. So feels good to beat a player of that caliber, but in my mind, I'm like, I know I really just got lucky. And then top 4, played against Gardavore, was 1 turn away from winning both games. I lost game 1 and game 2. But for the first cup of the season, top 4, I thought I was pretty happy with that. And having Surging Sparks as the packs for prizing was pretty cool too. I haven't opened much of that set just because of how hard it has been to find, or when you find it, it's pretty expensive.
Why do you like? I know definitely I feel that thing of like knowing that you win games off of luck, but I think best of 3, I think it's very different compared to like a best of 1. Like against Enzo,
Yeah,
I got lucky. Like Iono to 1, and that's boss's orders. That is, I like you. That is just luck. Like I can't. I didn't play well to put myself in position. I put myself in a bad position to kind of set myself up. But I think differently. I think best of 3, luck obviously plays a factor. We kind of, but I think kind of like I wouldn't say that no one says that Riley McKay's move was luck, where he did get
oh for sure.
quote
Yeah,
unquote lucky because Tord wasn't able to get the jamming tower. But at the end of the day, he still put everything in the favor where Tord had to do crazy things. So do you think that maybe
right.
your game didn't have the same elements, or do you like? Because I know it's really easy to be hard on some like hard on yourself, or be like very like nonchalant about like how you play versus.
Like I mean, I think I made good plays, but it was just like I wouldn't have been able to make a lot of them if I didn't just draw them.
Mm.
If that makes sense. I don't know. I might just be too hard on myself, but um, yeah, I guess
Like
that's all I really
you're
have to
probably giving
say. Yeah.
yourself. I wish we had the game recorder because you're probably giving yourself like not enough credit. Because I definitely think it's like you can
Mhm.
get the perfect hand off an Iono, but if you don't play the perfect hand right, then it doesn't really matter.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've gotten really good hands, and I look back at it, I'm like, oh, I had game in hand. I just decided to not win. Like I just didn't do what I needed to do to
Right.
win. Um,
Yeah. That's fair.
but yeah, perfect for the first, yeah, top 4 first couple of the season. That's incredible. Congratulations to that, and also like having to play like such a high caliber of players. I think about Ronan, Kieran, and there's a couple other names I think that were there. That like Riley, I think was also there. If not,
Riley ended up winning that cup. Yeah.
yeah, like so. I
So
mean, you have out of top 8, I want to say 6 people, maybe 5, were qualified to Worlds or going to Worlds.
I think four of the 8 were, but then there was also like a bunch of players in the tournament that were qualified and were just preparing for Worlds. Yeah.
Exactly. So like you're playing against players that like I think top 4 had a cup where there's no one there. That's just like a win of a season cup. It doesn't matter. Every one of these players want to treat this cup as their last chance to do as to
Right.
participate for Worlds. They still have a lot of time. Worlds is about a month away, but for sure. And yeah, the 60 is very really like it. I like the old school Super Rod and that Energy Switch.
Energy switch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a sick. Those are sick
I
cards.
okay. The Pokegear I ended up taking out of my deck. It didn't come up very often in the Game Time Cup. I understand it's a very good card to have. I just now I'm thinking I think I just added another nest ball instead of it just to be a bit more consistent in that way with the list. Or no, I took it out and added another TM Evo is what I did.
That is yeah,
Um,
that makes a lot of
and
sense.
2 TM Evos is very good to have. Um, Sometimes you even use both of them. in a game. If you prize it, it's really bad. Um, yeah, that's I like I know a lot of people don't play the energy switch. It's a combination of I really like that card artwork that I have, and I just it's a you set up your monkey doors easier. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah,
I think it's one of those things where it's kind of like, and I try to tell new players this all the time. This way, I'm the new player and I don't really have any stance to ground. I've just played for a year and have like just have really mid finishes for cups and challenges for a year. But I think my advice whenever I have new players, it's like the ideal 60 doesn't matter if you can't play it. Like I played Piper's NAIC
exactly. Yeah,
list, right? Like verbatim, it's like copy and paste. I didn't know the deck at all, and I didn't do well. Where I think if I had brought the Garchomp list, I just had so much fun with. Sure, there was like not as many competitive players, wasn't much of a competitive environment. It is the first Pokemon equivalent event that I won, and I think I won it pretty smoothly. So I think it's definitely it's like the ideal 60, especially for a locals, even a challenge. It doesn't really matter. Um, if
oh
you
for sure.
like, if you have a deck that you know and you like, just play the deck that you know and like, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna do finish better than if you don't. I just want to get better at Grimmsnarl, so I think I'm gonna continue with Grimmsnarl. But I think for the challenge, I definitely should have probably played my Garchomp list, just because I'm so used to it. I knew almost all of my matchups and what I had to do. But I think I had that bit of a pressure. I'm like, it's a challenge, gotta use a tier 1 deck, and it's like that's not true. Just
Yeah, for sure.
use the deck you want. We talked about a
That's
lot of cool stuff, and I think people will be very
for
appreciative of all
sure.
the cool stuff we talked about. So thank you
Yeah,
so much, Lucas, for joining us. We're going to be recording these on monthly, I believe, monthly circumstances, and we might be switching out who I talk with. So, Lucas, I'm going to talk to you for a couple months regarding this specifically, but definitely we'll see you around at Cubs and Challenges. And I'm very excited for your next tournament report because I think you go to a lot more events than I do. So, I can't wait to see in a couple months from now how much points you've gotten, if you've been able to win a cup or win a couple challenges. It's going to be really cool. Hopefully, by the time we record again, I will have a challenge top 8. That's all I want because I just,
but you'll get a challenge win. You got
yeah,
this.
a challenge win next time we
Yeah.
talk, hopefully. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. This has been Juan Pablo Pérez and Lucas Ward. Bye, everyone.
Okay, so